All right, welcoming you, friends, to our very first Educate and Empower webinar. This is a monthly gathering that's brought to you by our Growing Wellness program, which is informed by your ideas, your requests, and your participation. And I have a job thanks to you as well. My name is Anne McMullen, and I am the newly appointed Wellness Program Coordinator. And it is such a pleasure to be here today with such a big group. We have well over 40 people here live attending, and we had 130 people register. So that is so awesome. And we've been chatting a little bit about where you're from. We've got people from all over, from New Mexico, from Colorado, from the Netherlands, from Germany, and so many more places in Canada. I wanted to let you know that our guest today, Rami Rones, who I'm going to more comprehensively introduce in a moment, is actually here today because of one of you, one of our WM friends, brought me one of his videos. And I watched some more of his videos, and I just loved his approach to sharing mind-body tools. As a certified yoga therapist, I want to share that one of my goals is to provide you with tools that address the layers of mind, body, and spirit, and to make sure that our program sees you as a whole person and not just a patient. To me, the word patient kind of implies this passivity. And as I've gotten to know a lot of you, passive is not the word I would use. And it's been so amazing to witness your empowerment grow and grow as you're offered the tools of well-being. So I will say just a little disclaimer here. These complementary and integrative practices are to be used in conjunction with standard medical treatment, along with the approval of your doctor. So how this is going to work, each month we're going to have a different topic and a different wellness expert. We're going to both learn and do with the goal of helping you live well and perhaps even thrive with Waldenstroms. We'll also have time for some questions, so you can type those into the chat as they come up throughout the rest of the webinar. You can just type those in, and I will be moderating those questions a little bit later. And our wonderful IWMF support team is here, Shelley and Robin, to help us manage this large group. So please, a reminder, just stay muted unless we invite you to unmute during the Q&A period. And like I said, you can type directly into the chat anytime. So it is my pleasure to introduce Rami Rones, who goes by Rami. And today he's going to be sharing on the topic of Tai Chi, Qigong, and meditation for cancer care. Rami is, as he said, based in the Boston area, and he consults regularly for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute's Zachem Center. He is the co-author of numerous scientific publications, and he shares cutting-edge mind-body therapies with Harvard Medical School, Boston Children's Hospital, Mass General Hospital, and Tufts Medical Center, just to name a few. And as a reminder, he has asked us to come prepared today with a ball of some kind and a spoon and a chair and space to stand. We're so lucky to have you here today, Rami. Thank you so much for dedicating your time to our group. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. So, hi everybody. It's very exciting to see so many people from everywhere in the country, in the state, out of state. So first, we're gonna find out what is Tai Chi, Qigong, and meditation. So it's philosophies that were made about, I believe, 5,000 years ago. And necessity, I say, it's the mother of invention. So there were no medical doctors, there was no science, and Qigong and Tai Chi were created to help people deal with sickness and invest in prevention. And Tai Chi is also a health and martial art. So Tai Chi was also created for both the health and the martial art reasons. The major component of those three philosophies are the 5 building blocks. So it's body, breath, mind, energy, and spirit. So every exercise I'm going to show you today, and by the way, let's do this first. while I'm talking, can you please, I'm going to challenge you a little bit, just a touch. Can you please sit on the edge of the chair if you can? Lengthen your spine, relax your shoulders, open the chest. And at the same time that I'm talking, just focus on deep breathing in and out through the nose. For now, no mouth breathing. And see if you can stay with your spine straight and the deep breathing while I continue talking. So, so Tai Chi and Qigong. Qigong has four schools of thoughts, or four schools. There's medical Qigong, there's martial Qigong, there's Confucius Qigong, and religious Qigong. So Tai Chi falls into the health and martial art Qigong. But there is two other schools of Qigong, which is for religious purposes and Confucius. So each one of those schools try to use I call it behavior medicine, to benefit their goal. So religious people, their goal was to reincarnate. They believed in reincarnation, that they wanted to be free of this process of reincarnating themselves. The Confucius Qigong was created to make the brain smarter, make the brain better, so they'll be able to be better philosophers and better deal with the wonders of humanity in the world. And martial Qigong was created because at the time there was a lot of bandits, there's a lot of villages, and money was passed around from place to place, and there was an opportunity for bandits. So villages had to create a martial art. Like today, it's weapons. In those days, it was bare hands and weapons that they created. And at the same time, to be a martial artist, you also need to be very healthy. So one of the sentences one of my teachers told me when I came, he said, "Oh, you want to learn how to fight? First, learn how to heal and to be healthy, and then you'll be better as a fighter." So the Tai Chi belongs to the health and martial art, and that's today where we're going to focus mostly on the health. But a lot of the movements from the Tai Chi are also martial art, and sometimes the martial art movements are good because they awaken the warrior from within, so that there's a little bit of feeling of a fighter, a warrior. So, for example, if you sit on the edge of the chair and you put your hands to the side beside you, palm facing down, spine is still straight, and you turn your elbow in and you reach to the side wall to your right, elbow still bent, and then you bring the elbow back near your ribs and you flip the hand back. And then you do it with the left. So this is in Tai Chi, it's called grasp the sparrow's tail. So what you're doing here is you're strengthening the upper body, the core, you coordinating the motion with breath. It's a moving sitting meditation. So I say a good teacher will teach you sitting meditation, still, moving sitting meditation, standing still meditation, moving standing meditation, and moving through space meditation. But now if you add the intention of really grabbing the tail of the sparrow, which is more being like a martial artist, sneaking, blocking, it adds another dimension to it. So the martial application in Tai Chi, even that you don't use it for fighting, gives it a new feeling. You're evoking the spirit more, and your mind is more focused, and on and on. Now let's go a little bit back. So as I was mentioning before, when you talk about Qigong, Tai Chi, and meditation, they're different from what I call hobbies and sports. Hobbies and sports is one thing. Qigong, Tai Chi, and meditation are philosophies, our way of life. They will support your hobbies and sports, but they also support everything else you go through in life. So all those philosophies are made out of 5 building blocks: body, breath, mind, energy, and spirit. And every exercise that we'll do have all those 5 building blocks. So for example, if we go back to grasp the sparrow tail, So you sit on the edge of the chair. So first you say, okay, what's the body doing? Straight spine, head suspended from the heaven with a string, which is very similar to yoga. I say yoga and Tai Chi and Qigong are the same lady, just with a different dress. Open the chest. The shoulders have three common misuse. One is there's a floating shoulder, so not all shoulders are equal. So you want to look in the mirror and say, which of my shoulders up higher than the other? So the first thing you want to do is drop the shoulders. The second thing that happens with shoulders, it curves. It curves forward, one of them or two or none. If you don't have it, you're good. So you want to look and open the shoulders back. So back and down and back. So that's the first two. The third one is a little harder to work on right off the back, so it takes a little time. It's a shrunk shoulder. So if you look in the mirror, you see one shoulder is the distance between the shoulder and the neck is shorter than the distance between the shoulder and the neck on the other side. So let's just focus on down and back, head suspended from the heaven. Open the spine. So I push against the sitting bones and I lengthen the lumbar, the thoracic spine, and then the top of the head. I relax the abdominal muscles and the internal organs. So we hold a lot of tension in the internal organs. So I let go of the internal organs. And this is just a few of what we do with the body in those philosophies. So today, it's like you heard of this special chef and you want to try my food, but I can't give you all my menu in an hour. So we're going to have little taste. And then if you like this kind of food, you can go back and revisit it and look for more. So the second building block is the breath. So the next thing I want to do is inhale, exhale through the nose. The nose has air and it filters the bacteria. So you always want to at least inhale through the nose as much as possible. And you want to exhale also through the nose for now, because the nose is a smaller hole. And by the time the air moves out of the lungs, it still works there and stimulates lung cells, versus the mouth is a bigger opening. Although sometimes when you do certain kinds of Qigong or in the Tai Chi, you inhale through the nose and you exhale through the mouth. But we'll see if we get to that today. It's called fire Qigong or hard Qigong. So in and out through the nose. The third one is the mind. So the mind focuses on the breath. Then it focuses on what I call the up and down forces. Lumbar up, thoracic spine in and up, top of the head suspended. So that's three forces that move up. Face down, shoulders down, and internal organs down. So those are the three down forces. So this I call the major up and down forces, the 3 and 3. The breath is soft, the breath is deep. So you want to inhale at least to 80% of your capacity. So if you say, I don't know what's my 80%, so you say, okay, breathe one time to 100, go all the way. And that's what you don't want to do. But from now on, you want to go 80, 85%. So we have body and breath. Then we went to mind. The mind on the breath monitors the up and down forces. So now we have body, breath, and mind. So you can see why you can't have a TV or music, because now you engage in monitoring the body and the breath. If you just focus on the breath, just for the sake of sitting meditation, this is called Zen meditation. You sit there. That's what I started when I was 16 in Israel. So it's called Zen meditation. You just sit there, focus on your breath, and you try to empty your mind from any thoughts. And that's what they call Zen or Chuan in Chinese. And then we move to the fourth building block, which is the energy, the energetic system. It's the same energetic system that acupuncture use, shiatsu, 12 meridians, 8 extraordinary vessels, 8 or 7 or 9 energy centers or chakras or whatever you want to call it, depending on the philosophy or the approach. And this system exists within us, And it's part of what the Eastern philosophy believed, that in order to cultivate it, upgrade it, and utilize it for health and martial art, you need to take certain actions. The first action that you need to do is visualize a healing energy ball 2 inches below the navel. So that's why, if you have a ball, you can take the ball now. If you don't have a ball, you take your right hand and you make it into a loose fist. You take your left hand and you line it up with 2 inches below the navel. You put the right hand as a fist on top of the flat hand. This is also in Chinese greeting. It's the moon and the sun. So you put the left straight 2 inches below the navel, the right loose fist on top of the left, sitting on top. You line it up with your 2 inches below the navel. Or if you have the ball, you hold the ball with both hands and you just put it in front of about 2 inches below the navel. Don't grasp your fingers. So put one palm on top of the other. People say sometimes, Rami, is it left on top of right or right on top of left? Do both and see which one feels more natural to you. That's the way it should be. When I put my left on top of my right, it doesn't feel as natural as when I put my right on top of my left, but it could be different for you. Then you're going to close your eyes and you bring your mind down through the center of the body, and you bring your mind in through the ball. You project the feeling of the ball inward, and you visualize a healing energy ball in the center of the body. It's easier to visualize a small, round something versus bigger. The bigger it is, the harder it is to visualize, to hold the visualization. So, for example, I grew up in Jerusalem. Jerusalem was full of olives, green olives, black olives. So for me to move my mind down and visualize the olive, the green olive, and then make the green olive into an little energy ball was very easy. So find something round that is close to you and visualize that round inside there and make it into this energy. Eventually, I like to visualize with me and my students the sun or the full moon right in the center there. So now we have body, breath, mind, and energy. The last piece is the spirit. In Qigong and Tai Chi, it's believed that it's very important not only to stretch and strengthen the body, to learn alignment, to massage the joints, but and not only to breathe deep and bring more oxygen in, because we're shallow breathers, so this oxygen, the red blood cells carry the oxygen and deposit and nourish every cell in your body, and not only to learn to quiet the mind and utilize it as a healing mechanism, and not only to evoke the energetic spirit, to upgrade the energetic system and work with it, but also to evoke the spirit. And what does it mean to evoke the spirit? It means many things to many people. On one hand, you can sit there, visualize the lower energy center. So that's you and your energetic system. But if I want to evoke the spirit, I send my mind deep into the center of the earth, up into the heaven. And now my mind is in 3 places or in one. My teacher used to say, Rami, is my mind in 3 places or in one? So your mind is in your lower energy center, in the center of the earth, and in the heaven. Let's try that for a few seconds. While deep breathing, then bring your mind only to your lower energy center. Visualize a healing energy ball, just you and the energy ball. Now visualize your lower energy center and only deep into the earth, like a tree. So you have your energy center and your mind is in two places in the center of the earth. Now bring your mind only to your lower energy center again. Now bring your mind to the lower energy center and up into the heavens. So only two places, your energy center and up as high as you can go to the heaven, to the stars. But hold both places in the same thought, same visualization. And now one more time, visualize all three places at the same time. Your energy center, deep center of the earth, and up to heaven. Okay, and then bring your mind back. So as you can see, this is a lot quick, just to give you a little taste. But each of those practices you do for 15, 20 minutes, one at a time. The lower energy center, it takes you years and years to get stronger and stronger. The difference with the lower energy center, why the lower energy center is also important for martial art, it's the difference between a beginner and advanced. So beginners, when they punch from their arms. And advanced, when they punch from the lower energy center. When you throw a baseball, a beginner throws from the arm. An advanced pitcher throws from the lower energy center, from center of gravity. I also call it center of gravity energy center. So this center of gravity energy center is very important to strengthen it, build your mind in it. But one way is to put the mind in the energetic system, and that just by putting it in the energetic system, you can feel, some of you may feel warmer in the hands, warmer throughout the body. This heat spread it. Some of it is because you're relaxing the blood flow, and some of it is because the energy is starting to get stronger and stronger when you visualize this lower energy center. So let's go back a little bit to the first building blocks, the body. So how does working on the body helps with our health? How does it prevent sickness? So the idea or the theory is that the first thing we want to do is free the skeleton from being a prisoner of the soft tissue. It's the same principle in yoga, Alexander Feldenkrais, and many, many approaches, philosophies. But Qigong and Tai Chi have their mechanism of doing it versus yoga has other mechanism. As I said, it's the same lady, it's just a different dress. So freeing the skeleton. For example, you're designed to put your arms over your head and grab your elbows. Your skeleton is designed to grab your elbows behind your back or to hold both hands. The knee is designed to come all the way to your shoulder. The groin, is designed to do a split. Not that I can do it anymore, but there's all this. So the first thing you want to know is, what is my skeleton designed to do? You're restricted when the leg goes back sideways, so there's a restriction because of the hip. So it's not designed to go up to here. It's just designed to go about what, 40, 60 degrees without tilting the hips. And there is other places, the wrist, they don't go all the way to touch the back of the arm, but they go 90 degrees. The neck goes 90 degrees, but a lot of people lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So the first thing is to free your skeleton from being a prisoner of the soft tissue. If you do yoga, if you do the Tai Chi and Qigong, there's so many postures and stretches to do it. Let's just experiment with a few simple ones. So first thing, see, can you grab your elbows behind your back? If not, can you grab your forearms? Can you grab your wrists or the fingers? Of course, it depends. If you have arthritis, if you have a frozen shoulder, if you went through surgery, and on and on and on. So you do to the best of your ability. Not just that you do to the best of your ability. We want a very important principle of mine is 80% effort. I also have 20, 40, 60, and 80. But today, let's talk about 80% effort. So you do 80% of what you can do, not even 100. Less is more in my world. Why do we want to do 80? Because first of all, when you do 80, let's say when you grab your elbows behind your back, you feel no, it's too much. I can't. You won't last. And that's the other thing in the Qigong and Tai Chi. You want to last. You want to hold postures for 2-3 minutes. You want to stay there because I say don't practice it, be it. So you find the 80% effort, less is more, and also it allows you to integrate the other 5 building blocks. So the breath, the mind, and the breath. Then you can relax the shoulder, lengthen the neck, and over time and practice with the 80% effort, slowly but surely, you get closer and closer, and you do the best that you can do with what you have. The second thing, let's try to put the elbows over the head. Less is more. So you may grab the forearms, maybe the fingers. Sometimes one hand can do better than the other. So you go one more. So really each side by himself. Deep breathing. Visualize the energy ball 2 inches below the navel. Send your mind deep into the earth, like you're a tree. So that's another thing. In Qigong and Tai Chi, you use a lot of animals, visualization of being an animal or other forces in nature, trees, mountain. For example, let's stand legs together, hands beside your body. So when your legs together, this also works on improving balance. Tai Chi is known and been shown to really help with balance, preventing fall and stability. So when you go through cancer treatment, that's the last thing you need to fall or break something, especially if you also have osteoporosis. So you want to develop your balance. So this is a nice, safe way. If it feels too unbalanced to do it with your legs together, again, 80% effort. So you open the legs a little bit and you put your hands beside your body. You distribute the weight between the ball of the foot and the heel, between left and right. You tuck the tailbone in, so that's part of the body. You open the chest, drop the shoulder, head suspended. Deep breathing in and out through the nose. The mind in the energetic system and the lower energy visualization. And then this time you feel like you're a mountain. Just pretend you're a mountain. I'm sure all of you went up on a mountain and you felt very impressed and spiritual. Just be that mountain. Close your eyes. Closing your eyes a little harder too. So if you want to have something nearby, you hold on if you need to play it safe. Then you can close your eyes and enjoy the visualization stronger because with the eyes closed, it's easier to visualize. When the eyes open, it's harder. And now you're a mountain. Body, breath, mind, energy, and spirit. When it comes to freeing the skeleton, there's 2 main techniques or principles. One is what we just did, it's static. And the other one is dynamic. So for example, you can stand up now and you stand in the horse stance. You bend your knees, feet parallel, shoulder width apart. You want to tuck the tailbone in, open the chest, lengthen the spine. So now instead of using the chair, I use the legs as pillars for the spine. So that's why we need strong legs. We'll get to that in a second, to the strength part. And then I'm going to use the motion of the crane. No, we did that. Let's do this one. Crane caresses left and right. So I turn my hip to the left. My left arm is long, palm facing down. My right palm is facing up, but doesn't go as far. It just goes to the armpit. Then I turn to the center with my waist, and I turn to the right. And now I do the opposite. My right arm is the long one, palm facing down, left facing palm up, but only goes to the armpit. And I just move from the lower energy center from left to right. And I just let the arm move like two wings of the crane. Maybe one crane caresses the other crane. See, in health, it's caress. In martial art, it's crane strikes left and right. So let's see how it can change the intention. It puts a little different feeling when it's a strike versus when you caress. So the intention is very important to change from now, every now and then. When I move my arms up, inhale. When I come to the center, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Find your own rhythm, your own speed. Another one we can experiment with. Now put your legs together if you can. Eagle flies. Bring your hands to the waist, palm facing up. Open the chest and the spine. Bring your arms far back. Come around like butterfly strokes. Inhale when you bring your hands in. Then exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, deep, and exhale. Now we're going to change the breath. So I inhale here and exhale here. So now I'm going to inhale here and exhale here. Inhale and exhale. In Tai Chi, this is called turtle back. Turtle back. So in yoga, or maybe in other, they call it the cat and the cow. So let's take your chair, put your hands on the chair, and put your legs straight if you can. And then inhale, go to the cat. Exhale, go to the cow. Inhale, go to the angry cat, I think it's called. Exhale, go to the cow. When you go to the cat, tuck the chin into your collarbone. So that's a little different than what we're going to do when we stand up. But might as well stretch the neck. And when you go to the cow, look forward. So what you're doing here, you're moving the vertebrae, the spine, and you're curving the chest. And this is also called in Tai Chi and Qigong, when you do it standing, stretch the bows, release the bows. Bow and arrow, yeah? Stretch the bows, release the bows. So you learn to do the cat and the cow standing. And then when you perform the move eagle, you still do the cow and the cat. The cow and the cat. Or in my world, it's called release the bows and stretch the bows. So imagine the spine is like a bow, and there's a string between your forehead and your pubic bone. And if I take the string and pull it, whoop, the spine curves like that. So I call it the long bow. Then imagine between your shoulder, it's like a bow. And then you put a string between the two shoulders and you pull on the string, the bow stretches. You release the string, the bow releases. So when you work both bows together, stretch the bows, release the bows, stretch the bows, release the bows. That takes time and practice. So today you just get a little taste of it, because I want to show you that inside the eagle fly, it's not just the arms, it's the whole core, the whole spine. And what it does, it changes the shape around the lungs. And when you inhale here, air moves into the back parts of your lungs. When you change it and inhale here, air moves into the front parts of the lungs. So it's not only, my idea is not just to breathe deep because we're shallow breathers, and oxygen is so important for health and prevention. But I also want you to breathe in the different section parts, lung cells, lobes. Different teachers use different. In Qigong, they call it 84 points for breathing. In yoga, they call it chambers. And on and on. So it's also lobes and lung cells, and there's many names to it. But the idea is not just to breathe deep, is to stimulate different parts of the lungs. For example, let's do one. We could do it sitting. Spider climbs the wall, gives you a few things. First, it gives you another dynamic way to stretch. Second, it puts air into different parts of the lungs. And thirdly, it evokes your spirit by becoming the spider. So I take my left hand and I move it down through the center line. And I take my right hand and I move it up through the center line, like two snakes. One snake goes down, one snake goes up. Then they reach a point right about here that you can't go up and down anymore. Then you turn the palms to the outside and you reach up and you bend the left ribs and open the right ribs. Then the two snakes, one from the top, one from the bottom, they meet in the center. And whoops, I close my right ribs, open my left, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Become the spider climbing on the wall. So you can see how the either static or dynamic stretching free the skeleton. It helps with aches and pains, soft tissue issues, chronic conditions, lower back problem, neck issues, shoulders, and on, preparing for surgery, recovering from surgery, aging, and just modernization in general makes us very stiff. The couches, the cars, all that. And then the stiffness creates stagnation and compression on the internal organs, on the spine, and that's not good for our health. That stagnation, that compression leads to arthritis, to bowel movement issues, and on and on. It's like the list is endless. So first and most important, I say, if you can just take a few things from this class today, from this tasting, try to sit with your spine as straight as possible, as much as possible. You can always be, I call it 3 levels, like now they build those centers for elders. You have the assist. This is the independent. I teach in a few of them. The second floor is assistant living. So you use the help of the back of the chair, and you still work on straight spine until you get stronger and you can do it independently. But the third way, the way most people sit, I call it the dimension in the spine. It's just not healthy. When you sit like this with your spine, it goes against all the rules of alignment, of creating space, creating circulation. No, it's the opposite. So you want to try to sit as much as possible with a straight spine. The second thing is the deep breathing. So if you notice, even if I walk, I don't need to take a deep breath really. Unless you start running, and sometimes with age, and a lot of times running after a certain age, I'm 61. It's every time you run, I hurt my knees, I hurt my hip. But cardio is important. People ask, Rami, what should I do for exercise? I said, listen, there's a confusion in the West. Everybody talk about cardio and resistance, either weight or your own body weight. Yeah, we know about that. But the other two that are missing is flexibility and meditation. So you need to push yourself in 4 directions: cardio, resistance, flexibility, and meditation. But when it comes to the cardio, if you're like I said, it doesn't work always. So what's my option? How do I do cardio? Okay, if you can walk and get your heart rate going up and down and a little sweat, you're doing good. That's good. If you do that, maybe try a little hills. I'm not a big runner for running and over 45, 50. I meet so many people that were such runner and peloton, and it's just they're hurting, back problem, knee problem, hip problem. So I'm saying what for? The idea is to get the heart rate going up and down, to get oxygen in, to develop the lungs. So walking up hills, fast pace, good in my book. But the other option, if you can't do that, even walking, my students, we walk in front of the window. You put the timer, 15, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 3 minutes, and you just walk. I call it walk like a warrior. And you just walk in front of the window. You don't even have to go to the gym or out if you're a lot of time in Boston or in other places, the winter is very powerful, very strong. So you with a timer and walking, yeah, try that. Stand up and just take a few steps like this. See, so that's one way to get the cardio going. And you can change speed. You can do like a fast walking, move the arms either together or opposite. And after a while, you feel, wow, my heart is pumping, I'm a little sweaty, so you get that. But another option is, I call it sit back on the edge of the chair, is I call it from the inside out. So he's taking deep breath, 80%, holding the breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, inhale again, hold the breath in your lungs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, inhale again, hold the breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eventually you can do 10 and 20 and 30 and 40, even a minute some people can do. I do about 45 seconds. So hold the breath like this, and you do it in many variation. You do it when you're in different postures. For example, the rainbow. Take your right hand, grab your left wrist, stretch, pull the left arm with your right. So you open the left lung. Inhale, hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, switch. Take the right arm with the left, pull it up and inhale. 1, 2, hold the breath. 3, 4, 5. Like that. Okay. So again, you mix the ideas of oxygen, dynamic or static stretching. At the same time, you're massaging the joints when you do a lot of the. So if people have arthritis or any tendons problem issues, or you want to prevent those problems, so the gentle motions of the eagle, the crane, or the bear, or or the did we do this one? The crane flies. Let's try this one. Crane flies. Inhale, exhale. Remember the 5 building blocks: body, the breath. So as you go up, inhale, exhale. The mind in the lower energy center. And become the crane fly. Then rub your hands, make them nice and warm, and then circle your hands on your internal organs from up in the right toward the center and lift. The internal organs in Qigong and Tai Chi and in meditation are very, very important. I can't get into it now, but the whole idea of the Buddha is a symbol of healthy organs. And in the West, we say, I'm strong, and we point to the biceps. But in the East, people say, I'm strong. They tap their organs. How many people died of a failure of a biceps? Not many. It's the failure is in the organs. So the organs are really, really important in the Eastern philosophies. So it starts from gentle massage, which is called Qigong massage. or some people may call it Reiki or therapeutic touch. Yeah, all of those were developed later. Qigong includes all of those layers, I say, energetically touching, massaging the muscles like Swedish massage, uh, sticking the fingers like shiatsu, or needles like acupuncture, and even moving joints and opening it like chiropractic. So when you study Qigong, you actually, and there's two kinds of massage. One is self-massage. You massage yourself, the joints. Like in my research with arthritis, we warm the hands, we massage the knees with osteoarthritis of the knee. Really goes a long way. But in our case, we're talking about the immune system, stress, both physical and mental. So massaging your abdomen. I have 4 kids. Two of them, when they were babies, I just circle my warm hands on the abdominal muscles, they fall asleep. The other two, it didn't work. But I found another trick. I circle my finger on their third eye. Whoop, they fall asleep. So the touch, the warmth helps you relax, helps you dissolve. There's like all those Taoist meditation that I do at Dana-Farber, it's a cancer institute in Boston, that you put your mind in the internal organs and you dissolve them, use the metaphor solid to liquid and liquid to gas. And you just use the power of the mind to go into the internal organs and dissolve. If you put your mind in the internal organs, what do you feel? You feel, close your eyes, sense the inside the internal organs. Some of you may say, I feel more tension, more stress in the left. Some will say no in the right. Some will say no in the bottom. So different people feel different areas that are, it's called solid, solid or ice. And with your mind and the help of the hand sometime, you try to change it from solid to liquid and liquid to gas. In my case, I started doing Tai Chi and Qigong when I was 15 years old because of digestive issues. So I always feel in the left here in the intestine, the more substantial, more solid, more bloated. So I concentrate on my intestine and I say, okay, whatever I sense first, that's solid. And with my mind, slowly but surely, I try to change it to liquid, 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 liquid. And then sometimes with the hand of a warm hand, it goes a long way. And over time and practice, you learn to dissolve better and better the internal organs. It's also believed in the Eastern philosophy that traumas are stored on a physical level. So trauma you go through and they create stagnation. So there's a whole meditation that you scan your whole body and dissolve slowly but surely. So that's also, I call it the power of the mind. So I use, and then while I use the power of the mind, of course, I sit in a correct posture, alignment. I recognize which areas tend to have more tension, like the shoulders. The face is another place that has a lot of tension. By reducing all this physical and mental tension, you contribute to less stagnation. And the theory is that you have better health, better flow, and you also work on prevention. For example, let's rub the hands again. And then you go from the top of the skull and you just move your hand on top of your face and down into the earth. Again, rub the hands from the top, like a warm shower, just touching your face. The fingers helping the face relax. A lot of tension in the face. Melt your entire face. Then melt your shoulders. Then melt your internal organs. And lead all that down into the center of the earth. Rub your hands. It's nicer when someone else does it to you. So if you have someone you trust and you have, especially if they have warm hands, face, shoulders, internal organs down into the earth. You can even go above the face and just dissolve the whole brain. So you touch your head, the skull, you feel the heat, let the whole brain melt until you're just a skull without anything inside there. And then the face. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. Then the shoulders. and the internal organs, and lead all that down into the earth. One more time. Good. Then take your right leg and put it on top of the left if you can. So a lot of time we need to deal with neuropathy and lack of circulation. And one way of doing it in Qigong is, I mentioned there's two kinds of massage. There's one massage is you massage using your hands. The other massage is through movement. So when we did the eagle fly or the crane or any of those, the movement massages the internal organs, the joints, the body. But there's also what we just got into now, self massage. So if the right leg is up, I take my left hand and I just tap on the soles of the feet. I go from the toes to the heel and from the heel to the toes. You can tap, you can use your fingers like a claw, you can use the flat hand. So there's many techniques. You over time I say it's like jazz, you improvise. You find what works, the side of the fist, the finger, the knuckles, the hook like that, like the crane or the praying mantis, it's called. And you can use both hands, you tap, you go up towards the knee. So that's where some of you, if you do have a wooden spoon, it doesn't end and start with the hands techniques. As you know, there could be hundreds of hand techniques, I don't know, hundreds, at least 10. Or you can also take different instruments, like a wooden spoon, you tap with that. What you're trying to do is stimulate the nervous system. It's like electricity. So this gentle tapping may help, may not. You can try, see. There's no science to this yet. So I can't tell you 100%, but I do have some people say, oh, Rami, a little bit it helps. Then again, even if it doesn't help the neuropathy, what you're doing is by tapping, you're bringing blood and oxygen into the area. So you're nourishing the skin, the bones, the joints. And it also it's a meditation, moving meditation, sitting, moving. So you feel the tapping. Definitely on an energetic level, when you tap, you build energy and impurities come out of the body too. So when you move your hands on the body, you move stuff through the body and out through certain gates. But when you tap, things come out. How do I know that too? For real, change the other leg. I also work with cystic fibrosis for years. I worked bringing in women with cystic fibrosis, and I was shocked to find out in the beginning how when they come and the nurses they cup their lungs, pop, pop, like I was like, whoa, that's like martial art. And what it does, it breaks the mucus. So here's an example of a tap that breaks stuff and helps it to be open more. That's a strong tap, but those are more gentle. And I tap, tap, tap. At the same time, deep breathing. Lengthen the spine. See, also stretching your hip, opening the hip here, outer hip. So if your knee is pointing up, you need to over time and practice to try to get that knee to go down lower and lower until it's parallel to the floor, and then you can start leaning forward, and that also stretches your lower back, your hip, and a few other things. You can also tap the arms either with the spoon or with your hands. So this is in both health and in martial art, it's called conditioning. People do that. They tap like that, either with the hand, start light, and it makes your muscles more bouncy. It bounces forces off of you, but it also massages, stimulate the bone. on and on with the tapping massaging. I want to go back a little bit to the body because I talked about flexibility, static and dynamic stretching. I talked about the joint, massaging them. I talked about the internal organs, about alignment and correct posture. But I didn't mention yet the strength, which is very important. So while we were doing all that movement sitting this way, we're really strengthening the core, keeping your spine upright, deep breathing is right there. It's strengthening the core. Moving the arms like this, as I mentioned, for 3 to 5 minutes, really builds upper body strength. But another two element of strength in the both Qigong and Tai Chi is A, strengthening more the abdominal muscles to support the spine and also to build energy, this movement. And B is you literally going up and down. In the old days, when you study Tai Chi, you go really, really low. But nowadays, it's not so possible because of the stiff ankles, knees, hips, age, whatever. So there's two, I modify it. And the first thing I want you to do is, you can do it sitting or standing, the first one. You put your hands on the abdominal muscles. You inhale. You move the abdominal and the back muscles in. You exhale, you move them out. Inhale, move them in. Exhale, move them out. This is called abdominal breathing. Then when you put your hands on the back and the front and inhale, move both in, exhale out, in. So there's two breaths. One, you inhale and they move in, and then exhale out. Inhale in, exhale out. Inhale in, exhale out. That's Taoist breathing. Not a lot of people know this one. The other one that most people know, it's you inhale, the abdominal muscle and the back muscles move out. You exhale, they move in. Let's do 10 of each. Let's start with the Buddhist one. So you're going to put one hand in the back, one hand in the front, 2 inches below the navel. Inhale, your abdominal muscles and back muscles are going to move out, expand, the same as the lungs. Exhale, in. Inhale, out. Find your own speed, your own tempo. If you're getting hyperventilated, you're doing it too quick, too fast. So this also massages the internal organs. The Buddhist is more to circulate energy in the body. The Buddhist is used by singers, by yogis, by wind instrument. So that's why it's more known. The Taoist is more of a martial art breath. And people say, oh, but do you use it? They say, of course you use it. You're just not aware that you use it. But let's do it first, and then meanwhile think, when do I use the Taoist one in life? I already told you when to use the Buddhist, to relax, to circulate things in the body. But when do you use the Taoist one? So we'll do the Taoist one, and then you can answer me. I'll answer the question because it's hypotherapy. So inhale, move the abdominal and the back muscles in. Exhale out. So now it's opposite. You see, it's also called opposite pumps. As the lungs expand, the abdominal and the back muscle contract. So both strengthen the core, first of all, supports the spine. The movement of the abdominal muscle, they build energy. So when you put your mind in the lower energy center, all that energy goes and upgrades your energetic system and massages the internal organs, removes stagnation. So when do we use the Taoist? You use the Taoist when you want to exert force outward. Think about it. If you want to push a car, put your hand, or even before the car, take an imaginary balloon, hold it in your hand, put it to your mouth, and I want you to blow this balloon in one shot and put one hand on the abdominal muscles. So when you take all that air in, what do you do here? You pull it in. Same when you push a car. You can't push a car with the Buddhist breath. You have to use the Tao. Same when lifting weight and on and on. So when you exert force outward, you use the Taoist. When you want to circulate energy and relax, you use the Buddhist. So you need to know both because Otherwise, you're missing a big part of the healing, because it's not just about circulating things in the body, it's also about moving things in and out. So that's an element that the Taoist breath gives you, and tapping allows it to happen. Energy moves in and out, things are moving this way, not just that way. Then talking about let's do another posture. I want to do the form, just to talk about this part. Yeah. Stretch the form. Stretch the form. The forearm has a huge carpal tunnel people have. You don't use it, you lose it. You want to stretch it. Okay, that's a little break. And then go to the second element of strength. It's the up, call it the up and down, like the moon and the sun. So you sit on the chair, legs apart, shoulder width apart, feet parallel if you can, knee line up with your middle toe. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. As you go up, exert force, exhale. Inhale and exhale. That's 3. Let's just do 10 today. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you can do it sometimes faster, so it's a little bit cardio. You can do it slower. There's a nice metaphor. It says, now legs together, legs apart, strengthen your outer thighs, legs together, inner thighs. Between the two of them, calcium is produced in the big bones, so the femur and the pelvis. So you stimulate the muscles around the bones, and muscle mass, increase bone density as well. Legs together. Inhale, exhale as you go up. I mentioned there's a nice metaphor. It's called up like smoke, down like a feather. Up like smoke, down like a feather. Or that's why I call it up and down like the moon and the sun. If you go on my YouTube, ramelrones.com, it's all free. There's a blog, there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of stuff there, and up and down, moon, the sun, or up like smoke, like feathers there too. Yeah, I actually wrote a whole, especially for you guys, I wrote and we posted it yesterday. So if you go, it's under learning, and then how does Tai Chi, Qigong and meditation helps with cancer. Click on it and you'll see I wrote a whole 5-page introduction, or whatever you want to call it, article. I don't know what you want to call it. I just decided, a lot of what I talked about, if people will see it in writing, it would be nice for them. And I'm sure Anne can send you the link, or if you can't find it. So this is very important for strength. And as I mentioned, when it comes to exercise, cardio, strength, flexibility, and meditation. The flexibility and meditation is the two missing part from exercise when you're seeking health and prevention. So that's the Eastern side, the yin side of exercise. And then the yang side is the cardio and the resistance. So if you push in all those 4, you have a better chance to help with different conditions or prevention of other conditions. And also, people used to talk about the core, strengthen the core. So you can see how sitting there for 2-3 minutes, flying like a crane, breathing deep, at the same time moving the abdomen, the back muscles in and out, visualizing the lower energy center, really strengthening the whole core. And then add the up and down which is so simple. Again, you don't need a gym, you don't need anything. And add the 2-3 minutes with the upper body. So now you have legs, abdominal, and upper body. And then you're also contributing to bone density, doing a lot of the stuff standing. It emphasizes balance. For example, in Tai Chi, it's called the Tai Chi walk. So stand, I'm not going to move along the room, and you can hold the chair, but this is for balance, stability, preventing falls. And you raise the knee up, you push the leg out. You raise the knee up, you push the leg out. It's called the Tai Chi walking meditation. This again, flexibility, strength. It's a moving meditation, moving through space, because you walk along the room like this. And in order to achieve better performance, you practice outer hip stretch, you practice a hamstring stretch, similar to yoga postures, and then you get better and better in the Tai Chi walking. Another element of Qigong and Tai Chi is Tai Chi form. So let's choose a very simple move. It's called cloud hands in Tai Chi. You stand in the horse stance. Your hands, the right hand is like you're hugging somebody. Left like you pet a dog, a big dog. Then you turn toward the elbow that is up, and you switch. Now the left is hugging a big tree or somebody. The right pets the dog, and you turn to the left. Cloud hands. And now you want to evoke the spirit, become a cloud, just pure cloud. But what's in this motion? As I mentioned, body, breath, mind, energy, and spirit. So I started from the spirit, you're a cloud, but you're standing in the horse stance, so you're working your legs, the strength. You're doing the deep breathing. The slower the motion, it's still one inhalation, one exhalation. Inhale, exhale. Inhale as you turn, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay, go back to sitting. So I want you to remember the 5 building blocks: body, breath, mind, energy, and spirit. Remember to integrate in everything you do in life as many building blocks as you can. And that's what makes this into a way of life or philosophy. I think at this point, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. We have about 14 minutes left. And if not, then I can continue doing more things. But I think if anybody want to ask questions, this is the time to ask. And Anne, if you write it in the chat, Anne will ask it so everybody can hear it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rami. Let's go ahead and type your questions into the chat space if you have any questions. I know that my first question sort of is, what is the length of a Tai Chi or Qigong practice? You know, generally, how long would you like people to practice? Please type your questions into the chat while I ask this one question, get our questions going.
So I did mention one little thing along the way that I said, don't just practice it, be it. So it's a hard question, because if I'm sitting at the table and eating breakfast, and I'm sitting with my spine straight, does that consider part of your practice? So it starts to, and that's why Qigong and Tai Chi, it's also behavior medicine. So you practice it as much as you can, and and you mix the principle into your regular life. If you, they say when you shovel snow, don't go from your back, but shovel from your legs. And again, so that, are you practicing or you already it? But in general, you can say, let's say you're working, it can start from 30 seconds practices throughout the day. I'm a strong believer mixing it into your life. You walk around, you're working, you say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to do, it's called iron on the wall. Oh, I'm just going to do another hour, go, oh, just do vitamin H. Or you wake up in the morning. I designed those 3 stretches that are really easy to do, a minute each. Iron on the wall, vitamin H, hamstring, and the chair twist. So I say, in my classes, we hold it for 3 minutes, but on your own, even if you do 30 seconds of each, it's really a good way to start the day. Some of my students say, oh, yeah, I do the iron on the wall now in the shower. It's okay, that's interesting, you know. And then you can go into set up the time for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you say, I'm going to do 5 or 6 exercises that are important for me. I am a strong believer in the consistency is the key to success. So, and knowledge too. So, let's say take the up and down. My students, they know up to 15 is beginners, 15 to 30 is intermediate, 30 and up, 2 sets, legs apart, legs together is advanced. So they try to build up to that. Once you do 30 and up, you don't need to do it every day. You just do it every other day. So now, within 12 weeks, I've shown in many of my research as Tufts with osteoarthritis of the knee, within 12 weeks, you can already see difference in 4 and 6 weeks. But within 12 weeks, people have strong legs, the knees feel better, strong legs prevent falls, confidence, self-esteem, better performance, and on and on. So there's also clear benchmark. You want to have clear benchmark, and then it's up to you. How do you integrate it into your life? Some of my students say, oh, Rami, this is so important because of my lower back. So every now and then I just turn the chair and I put my laptop on the table and I work like this, so that's mixing it in. And then you can also have, like when I teach Dana-Farber, it's a 45 minutes class. I used to have in-person classes, an hour and a half classes. And so it's very along those times or mixing it in. But the more you become it, the better. I always say when you at the light, maybe it reminds you, oh, I should breathe deep. When you wait for your email, oh, it's a reminder. So you make those reminders how to practice and when to practice. And all those little reminders, oh, stand up straight or sit straight. Don't hunch like that. Empty your mind a few times throughout the day. Just close your eyes and focus on the breath. Or just close your eyes, focus on the lower energy center. Or if you want to fall asleep and you can't fall asleep, check out the sleep video, an excellent one. You start focusing on the breath. You don't let anything come in, either fire breath or water breath. Or you lie down and you dissolve your internal organs, and that really helps you fall asleep, reduce a lot of physical and mental stress, and gives you better sleep and maybe stay asleep more. So did that answer your question, Anne?
Yes, very much so. Thank you so much. I love the idea of integrating the practices into your everyday life. And I think that we definitely, we're aligned in that philosophy, Rami. I do have a couple questions. So Anne Moffat from Canada writes in, loved it. Monty Python called Tai Chi walking silly walking.
Yeah, it's the
Can you?
school of talking with Monty Python. A lot of people tell me that. So it is one of the Monty Python walks. He just goes,
Right.
but
She's
I don't know. Tai Chi is 5,000 years, so maybe that was before Monty Python.
sure, sure. She's asking, do you usually do the practice in a more flowing, continuous manner?
Definitely. Today was little taste, little bites. A class over 45 minutes. Usually we'll do about 8 to 10 exercises. So then let's say you start the class with a 5 minutes sitting on the edge of the chair and the deep breathing. And then we may fly like the crane for 4 minutes. So it's about 3 to 4 minutes each one. And we just flow from one to the other gently, depending on the focus. Someday I focus on the immune system. Someday I focus on a specific internal organs. Some days I focus on the joints. Some days I focus on the mental and physical stress. Some days I focus on anxiety or mood, depression. And then even if you don't have it, I say just learn that what I say is I'm empowering you, and I'm giving you a box of tools, of mind body tools to help you deal with whatever you want to deal with. But definitely a class is about 8 to 10 exercises. You flow from one to the other. We talk about not just doing the exercise, but for example, if we start a warm up with the iron on the wall, then we go to the vitamin H. So we try in between to move in a meditative way with the breathing. Go to the next one, boom, and then we hold it 3 to 4 minutes. And then we go to the next one and we hold it 3 to 4 minutes. And then it's not as much information, not as much exercises. Uh, I always say it's this way. Today, it's like almost I give you a map. The map gives you all the way from your house to my house. It doesn't mean you can do it right now, but at least you have a map, I say. Then you learn the path and how to pass different objects and obstacles, and that takes slower. But a good map is good to know what you're heading for and what's your goals and what you're trying to achieve. So that's today was more of the map of bite-sized tastes.
Got it, Rami. Thank you so much. And I think that does answer the question, usually practicing in a more flowing, continuous manner. And I love the idea of using those transition moments and really infusing them with mindfulness as well, like you said. We have another question coming from Terry, and please don't hesitate to write your questions in the chat. Terry is curious about bad posture. She calls it bad posture, but maybe we're going to change that negative self-talk a little bit, right? It's just if you have you're challenged with your posture. She asks if that's a problem for you and you feel pain in your shoulders just sitting up. What's her starting point, right? How can she ease the pain to maintain the better posture? Great question, Terry.
Bad posture in the Qigong and Tai Chi and yoga too, it's just a misalignment. So you want to learn correct alignment versus misalignment. And some of the aches and pain could be from a misalignment or bad posture. I would say the first thing is just to go against the wall. I call it four points to touch the wall, but I would even focus just on 3 for now. So the heels don't have to touch the wall. The sacrum touches the wall. Then the shoulder blades try to touch the wall. The hands down. I have 4 letters. This is the W. Then there's the T. Then there's the Y. And eventually the elbows here is the final posture. So that's very hard, sometimes hard for people. So you start from the W. And you have your sacrum, your shoulder blades, and the back of the head touching the wall. You can also do it on the floor with a pillow maybe under your neck. And you slowly let the shoulders open and relax. Then, so that would be the static. And then you add from the Qigong and Tai Chi some dynamic motions. So when we did crane, caresses left and right. So that's a nice gentle massage to the shoulders. You can do roll shoulders back, roll shoulders forward. There's some coiling Qigong that you can get into. But I would start 4 points to touch the wall, sacrum, shoulder blades, back of the head, and the back of the hands. And then shoulder rolls. And then see if you can over time practice do elbow overhead, elbows behind back, and eventually with the belt or a towel or an event. And once you don't need it, I call it the pretzel. So that will open up the shoulders. Now, when you talk about shoulders, the neck is a part of it too, because anything from here up is one piece. So then look to the left, look to the right. So you want to open the neck muscles. And what we did when we did the cat and the cow, so I said, tuck your chin in. And then how do you do 80%? You take your fist and you don't go all the way to your collarbone. You just go a little bit. And you start opening the neck muscles, the shoulders, and all the way down to here. And that goes a long way. And then from the inside out, using the breathing, expanding and is very important too. And of course, the mind goes in there and work with what we did today with the dissolving and helping correct posture. And a lot of time looking in the mirror can help a lot. That's but yeah, it's an area that is it has different angles. But I would start with the 4 points touch the wall, rotator of the rotating back and forward the shoulders, and then elbows overhead, behind, back, and the pretzel.
I
That's
love
this.
it. I love it, Rami. I love that approach to opening up the posture, to open up the chest and strengthen the back and the shoulders. And we would definitely have similar viewpoints on that one. But I appreciate the Tai Chi, Qigong perspective. We have another question, and I think this is a really good topic. We could probably do a whole hour and a half just on this topic. Is there anything specifically good for neuropathy? She's talking about peripheral neuropathy, and that might be in the feet, that might be in the hands. So
I would say, again, the gentle motions with correct posture creates more flow. So you feel warmer. The tapping is very important. So the tapping, either using your hands or tools. I didn't bring it. I have a bunch of metal rods there, and you also do it with like Chinese chopsticks. You take a whole bunch of them, and you can do it on the spoon. But I would say the tapping, stimulating, is very important. Taking the ball and standing, holding on to something, and rolling your legs on the ball, many different ways, forward, backward, little circles going up and down, left and right, and different balls do different things. Like some people like soft, other people like the golf smaller and harder. Or that's why it's mentioned different balls: baseball, golf ball, or soft balls. More rubbery. So you can experiment with different ones. So between rolling the balls, and you don't have to do it even standing. You can also do it sitting, tapping with different instruments or your hands, and going and movement and all kind of exercise that stimulate the soles of the feet, because the Tai Chi, you keep shifting your weight from one to the other. So there's the whole Tai Chi form that you learn. I have a very simple 5-4 moves I teach when I do research, because it's too much. So it's very simple. It's a mountain stance to second mountain stance, begin Tai Chi, grind. It's on my website. If you go to the irritable bowel syndrome prescription, and then cloud hands and finish. So it's like a 1-minute form. Or if you go to, forget where I put it. It's I do it in Masada in Israel in the sunrise. It's a short, very short form. If you look through my website, you'll find it. So you can just imitate the form, very quick, learn it. So that has a lot of shifting from one leg to the other, stimulating, staying there for split seconds, and so that has the whole element of what the other stuff is. So either you do it through your own body weight, or use the props and tools, or the bowls, or the spoons, or other instruments. The dissolving too. If you just sit there and then you put your mind in the soles of the feet, or even when you use the ball, and at the same time you put your mind there and you lead energy to that area and you help dissolve it and relax it. It's a combination of both physical and mental.
I love it. We have a lot to think about, a lot to digest. And if there are any other questions, you can type it into the chat. Or, in a moment, I might stop the recording, but I want to do a close here. While you think about if you have any other questions, I'm going to close this session up to say just thank you so much, Rami. I learned so much that is going to come into my yoga classes, I'm quite sure. And I'll be crediting you, of course. I know we have just scratched the surface of your knowledge and know-how. And I would just take to you guys, if you loved working with Rami today and you want more of these practices, please fill out the follow-up poll, which I'm going to be sending out with the recording so we can collect your feedback and maybe bring him back on a more regular basis. And as he said, you can check out, there's a lot of great stuff on his website, which is very well done. It's ramelrones.com, and that's been typed into the chat, and that will also come in your follow-up email. So
It's,
lots and
I
lots
didn't
of
do
video.
anything. It's all Ilana, my wife. That's amazing work if you look at it. Yeah.
Yes, his wife Ilana is the maestro behind the website and all the production, and she's amazing. So lots of videos to practice with, as we talked about, to reduce anxiety and stress, to help you fall asleep, to boost your mood, immune system, and your energy levels. I want to also let you know that next month we're going to be having Sharon Piotrowski come, and she is a certified personal trainer, and she's also someone affected by the rare disease of Waldenstrom's. So she's coming, and we're going to be talking about fitness and finding fitness through this lens, talking about cardio, talking about strength training, and then, of course, we'll be following that up with another link to register. So thank you so much today to you, Rami. We really appreciate your time, and we'll hope to see you again soon.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.